There is a story of Thomas Alva Edison. In 1994, Thomas Alva Edison's factory was completely destroyed by fire. The fire was so intense that nothing was left. He suffered a loss of 23 million USD, and a prototype that he had been working on for years was also burned down. After learning about the situation, Thomas Alva Edison expressed himself in a way that exemplifies mental toughness. He said, "Everything I have been working on so far has burned down. It's good. Now I can start fresh." This is a perfect example of mental toughness. It's the quality that allows a person to handle even the worst situations with composure and a positive outlook. Just like a good diet and regular exercise make you physically strong, there are habits that can make even a mentally weak person mentally strong. In this video, we are going to discuss some habits of mentally strong people. So let's get started. Habit 1. Embracing change. There's a bird called the eagle, which can live up to 70 years. However, to live that long, it has to make a very difficult decision after 40 years of life. After 40 years, the eagle's talons become too weak to catch prey easily. Its sharp and long beak grows too large, and its wings become too heavy to fly. At this point in its life, the eagle has only two options. It can either live in this condition and eventually die, or it can accept a painful process of change. This process lasts for 150 days, and during this time, the eagle goes to the top of a mountain and starts striking its beak against a rock until it falls off. Once the beak is gone, it waits for a new one to grow. After that, the eagle pulls out its old worn talons and waits for new, sharper ones to grow back. Finally, it pulls out its old heavy feathers to make itself lighter. After 150 days of painful transformation, the eagle begins a new phase of life, flying again for the next 30 years. The lesson here is that in order to survive and truly live life, you need to accept painful changes. Remember, when it rains, all the birds look for shelter, but only one bird, the eagle, flies above the clouds, not to escape the rain, but to rise above it. Similarly, a mentally strong person embraces change and uses it as an opportunity to grow stronger, not fearing it. Habit 2. Establishing boundaries. Do you remember the last time you had to do something that completely disrupted your schedule and left you regretting it later? If this happens often, then you're probably not mentally strong enough. A mentally strong person knows their boundaries very well. They know what they need to say no to and which conversations they don't need to participate in. They also know what food is good for them and what to avoid. A mentally strong person is very selective about what they take on. Habit 3. Understanding sacrifice. People who understand the concept of sacrifice know how to balance their strength with their purpose. A perfect example of this is Virat Kohli. In 2010, I read an article about him where it mentioned that he was a huge fan of food like mutton rolls, butter chicken, and chole bhature. However, his current diet is very different. He has given up butter chicken and mutton rolls, and he doesn't even take sugar in his coffee anymore. Discipline and sacrifice are major elements of his life. Friends, no purpose can be achieved without sacrifice. Whether it's sacrificing addictions, junk food, or social life, sacrifice is essential. Mentally strong people never shy away from making the necessary sacrifices to achieve their goals. Habit 4. Embracing fear and mistakes. If you think that mentally strong people always plan only for success, you might be wrong. In a specific interview, someone explained their approach by saying that while they always plan for success, they also prepare for failures and challenges. They are ready for setbacks. Being mentally strong doesn't mean just preparing for success. It also means being open to and ready for the possibility of failure and mistakes. Habit 5. Practicing self-love. I once saw a young man in my office who looked very physically fit, and he had a different aura about him. I assumed he was probably from a news channel, or maybe he had just completed his college and has started his corporate career. But then, I discovered that this young man was the director of a major business unit. His physical appearance didn't match his actual position. Later, I spoke with him, and he told me that before he starts his workday, he makes sure to focus on his physical and mental health. He doesn't begin his professional work until he has first taken care of himself. From this, I learned that self-care practices significantly improve your self-esteem and overall mental health. It's one of the most important habits of mentally strong people.